Hi everyone, it's Kirsten from Happy Little Quilt Shop. We are filming this on my phone again, and it's not going to fall over this time because I got a stand for it. It's supposed to also have a ring light, but I can't figure out the whole filming with the back camera thing, and it's just not worth it, guys. I don't know when I had to become a content creator to also just run a quilt shop, but that's what I have to do. Also, I'm going to try and look at the camera and not at myself on the screen. So cheers. It's gonna be a fun time. So we have a great wine this week. This is, let's see if we can get it to focus. See, this is the downside to it, just wants my face. Look at the wine. There we go. Okay, we were gonna get there in the end, guys. This is a Poliziano. It is a Rosso di Montepulciano. I'm going to butcher that a billion times. I have never gotten it right, even since my school days. This is a wine from Tuscany, and it is a 2023. It's a red wine. They are very well known in Tuscany, so there's several different classifications of wine. And one of the important things that you want to look for with Italian wines is this DOC label. Oops. Let's try and focus here again. We're gonna get this, guys. This DOC label. Basically, this means the wine's legit. Typically, it means that it is sustainably farmed or organically farmed. This is both. I bought this bottle at Whole Foods. I'm going to try my best to always get wines that are available either nationwide or, you know, like from a big retailer. There's little places that I love to go if I'm looking for something special. But I think in terms of you guys being able to get the wines, I'm going to try and stick to Whole Foods. Probably occasionally we'll go to Kroger. Which might be called, you know, something different. I can't remember all the different Kroger names. So some things from there, Meyer. I'm going to try and keep a lot of it very accessible so that if you guys want to try the wines that I'm talking about, you can. So, Poliziano, big name brand in Tuscany. They make several different types of wine, several different classifications of wine. When I was in school, everyone had this bad boy right here, the Wine Bible. It's a fabulous book. This is my second copy, which is why it's in such good shape. I have another copy that is just, it is on its last leg because I've looked so many things up. I've flagged things. This is a phenomenal resource, written by just, I mean, one of the best. Excellent resource. So I got this guy out for a couple of reasons. So I like that they describe Rosso di Montepulciano as the younger sister to Brunello. So I feel like a lot of times when we're in the supermarket, if we're in the Italian wine section, we see Brunello a lot. So they like to call this the younger sister to Brunello. It also, a lot of times, has that classification because producers will downgrade their grapes to, you know, if they don't feel like it's up to snuff to be a Brunello, they will downgrade them and just make a boatload of Rosso. The thing that makes Rosso different is it's aged very little. So this is a 2023. I would say that's like perfection in terms of drinking it. It's a very easy drinking red, specifically an Italian red. Italian reds, very often what people are exposed to are these really heavy, full-bodied, tannin very, very tannin heavy, tannin forward wines. Like often if you're at a steakhouse and you get an Italian red, you immediately, you have a sip and you get that pucker in your mouth, that kind of dry, scrapey feeling. That's the tannins. And I feel like so much of what people are exposed to typically is that type of Italian red. But there are excellent, excellent, excellent Italian reds that you could drink just like a white when you're hanging out. This particular one would be great with everything from I would say less fatty steak, so like a lean strip, very lightly grilled or done in a pan, not a lot of char on it, or you could even have this, like last week, the red that I had, we had it with chicken. You could absolutely have this with chicken. You could have it with pizza. You could have it with steak. One of my favorite things to have with Rosso is probably steak and tomatoes, which has a delightful, fancy Italian name that I will butcher that too. So we're not going to do that. But they do a very thinly sliced steak with a fresh tomato kind of bruschetta situation on top of it, and it is perfect. Tuscany is known for its olives, it's known for its grapes, it's known for a little bit lighter fare, I would say, in general, but they still have those couple, specialties that are heavier, and that's why we have the big wines, the Vino Nobles of Tuscany, which is one of the things that Poliziano is a very famous producer for. It's in the wine Bible. It's in just about every wine book. They're like, you gotta have a Vino Noble from Poliziano. It's a great producer. So this is a very accessible wine from them in terms of access to it and price point. Is the price sticker still on here? It is not. This guy, I'm quite certain, is under 20 bucks, which is fabulous. Wine is a little more expensive here in the States right now. Hopefully that changes very soon. But in general, I would say it's still a good rule of thumb is you can get a decent European wine that you'll want to drink, not just cook with, for 25 and under. It's very different from American wine. And if you travel to Italy, boy, you can get a knockout wine for like $3. It's crazy. There's so many small producers, and things are just controlled so differently there than they are here. So you can get really, really phenomenal wine at a great price. So let's stop chit-chatting and drink some wine. Let's get to the good part. So I really shouldn't be holding this with my hands up here. I'm transferring heat to the wine. This definitely needs a slight chill on it. Again, we talked last week about it, like cellar temp. And there are awesome little stickers that you can put on the side of a bottle of wine to temp them. It's like one of those little heat sensitive sticky thermometers. They're great. You can buy them at most wine shops and online, of course. But you really should not, we want to hold the wine like this, but really you should always be holding it by the stem so that you're not transferring heat to the wine. So this one, ooh, very, very nice. Young wine, so it's going to be more fruit forward. In general, younger wines are more fruit forward. A little bit of strawberry, like macerated strawberry, like baked strawberry. Yeah, not macerated strawberry, baked strawberry, I would say is very strong. Fresh cherry, I would say a little tart and sweet. And boy, you really got to stick your nose in there, guys. Maybe even a little, I feel like I'm getting slight plum. Definitely possible with this wine. So this wine is about 80% Sangiovese, 20% Merlot. Everyone varies a little year to year, but predominantly Sangiovese. But you are getting some of that. Merlot is typically those baked fruits, plums. So you are getting a little bit of that on the nose. Oh, very good. Very, very good. Definitely, yeah. Once you taste it, cherry for sure. You are getting a little bit of those tannins. They are not strong by any means. Very, very light, light tannins. Great. This would be phenomenal for patio drinking. Summer patio drinking. Ooh, and on the finish there, yeah, I'm slight, like, yeah, baked berry, maybe plum. And very often with Italian wines, we talk about stone. And if you think about Italy, you know, there is so much volcanic activity in that realm. It would be impossible to not get some of that stone. I would say this is more what we would kind of trend towards, like a wet stone. I always equate it to like if you've been somewhere that has like crushed limestone and it's rained, that that's kind of always what I equate it to. And like last week we talked, you know, when I say cherry, strawberry, that doesn't mean that those fruits are in the wine. They are notes of the wine because of how it's aged. Boy, and you can, you can tell after a few sips. This is a slightly higher alcohol wine. I think it says 14 on the bottle. I actually would say it in reality might be a little bit higher than that. So it's a little it's a little heavy on the alcohol for me. I typically like something that's more around 12 and a half. That 14 is a little you get on the very, very end there, kind of once it sits on it's in y'all. You can definitely tell it's a higher alcohol wine. One of the things you can do too, to tell if a wine is, which really I should not be swirling with this much in the glass. This is very hard to do and not a good idea. But if we can get a good swirl here. So let's see if this'll, I don't think we can get it to focus on them. So I will try very, very hard. Let's see if we can get her in it. I will try and figure out how I can show this to you. But wine has, yeah, bummer. Okay, I'll figure out how to show this to you guys. So wine, when you swirl it in the glass, has what's called legs, which is when it drips down the glass. And depending on the speed at which it's dripping down the glass, you can tell if it's a higher alcohol or a lower alcohol wine. Fun fact. I've got some snicky snacks too, because we haven't had dinner yet, so this is gonna go straight to my head. So typically I would say this would definitely be far better with like kind of a typical Italian kind of charcuterie situation. So olives, some fresh tomatoes, little bit of cheese. I might even throw like a little bit of like roasted eggplant or something, would be fabulous with this, but I didn't have any of that. So I've got candied everything seasoned walnuts and a extra sharp cheddar, and I found these things. They're great. They are from Noosa. They make yogurt, but this little guy is I think it's a yogurt cheesecake ball with raspberry filling and a little bit of white chocolate on it. So a little something sweet. So it'll be a great little snack before dinner. I think we're having, what are we having tonight? I think we're having pork tenderloin tonight, which this should be spot on with. Very, very happy. Now, let's get to the other part of wine and whips, which is the whips. So, spoiler alert, I'm still not done with the Wardle pickleball paddle case, but it's in progress. It's getting there. There's some fiddly bits with it. There's some hand binding you have to do. I do not care for hand binding at all. I will bribe other people to do it. That's how little I like it. So I thought I should show you something new, because true mark of a quilter, I've got 18,000 works in progress, and they're all gonna get done someday. So this is, maybe a year ago, these were trending everywhere. And moms were filling them with snacks and calling them snackle boxes. But I looked at this and said, I can put another kind of treat in here. I can put my quilting in here, specifically my hand piecing. So this is a project that I've been working on for, oh gosh, quite a while now. It's a grandma's flower garden, and I'm doing it in Tula Pinks, unicorn poop and dragon's breath solids with little hints. Do I have the other color in here? No. So with little hints of the original true colors. So this is one of my blocks. I have a few of these done now. I just kind of, English paper piecing is one of those things that typically, because of the way it's put together, you don't have to do it the same way that you would. It's not like piecing a traditional quilt. You can pick it up a little bit here and put it away, and pick it up a little bit here and put it away. It's a phenomenal if you're traveling. I took this up north and I stitched on it a little bit when we were up north at my family's cottage. But yeah, I have lots of EPP projects too. And this is one I've wanted to make a grandma's flower garden forever. And I don't know, something about, it's, for me, it's hard not to be inspired by Tula's fabrics. I look at them and instantly they exude exactly what I want the store to all the time, which is, lightness, happiness, bright, just a joy for life and joy for all things quilting. Every time I look at her fabrics, I'm so inspired. And so when I looked at the solids and saw just how well they pair up together, I was like, grandma's flower garden. Like, I'm finally going to do this. So I'm alternating. I'm doing some with the unicorn poop around the outermost ring, and then the dragon's breath on the inside, and then I'm doing some like this one, where I have the unicorn poop and then the dragon's breath. And then every one that has unicorn poop in the center has the creamy fairy dust, and then everyone that has dragon's breath at the center ring has the, I think it's called Dove, it's the light gray fairy dust. So work in progress. Like I said, I've got a few of these done now. This one is getting there. We're getting there. I am matching, because you can see, maybe I can get this to focus. Nope, stop looking at me. Look at the fabric. Well, you can see it a little bit. Oh, you have to be in like exactly the right spot. Sorry guys, this camera is, I'm gonna film this on the actual camera the next time instead of the phone, and it'll be fine. We'd figure it out. We're figuring out this content creation thing. This is mostly a way for me to just connect with you guys about things that I love. Because spoiler alert, owning your own business is a little lonely, actually. Very often I feel like I don't have someone to talk to about something that isn't the business. It consumes so much of my life that I need to talk about my hobby, not just my job. Because the hobby is why I started it all. I love quilting. I want all of you to love quilting. So this is just a nice way for me to talk to you in a way that I'm not trying to sell you anything, because just being frank, sometimes that gets really exhausting. Like, it's my job, but also I just want to create so bad. And I just want to share that with you guys, and I want to see everything you're creating. And the wine folding into that was just a great thing for me, because I miss it so much. It was such a big part of my life for such a long time. And I still love everything about it, just like I love quilting. And it's not just the drinking of the wine, it's the entire experience. It feels, I'm a Sagittarius, and it feels like an adventure every single time I sip something new. It's what are the tasting notes? What is, is it tannin forward? Where do things finish on your palate? And it probably comes from wanting to be a chef when I was a kid. I don't think you guys know that about me, but I was either, it was two extremes. I either was going to be a chef or I was going to be a lawyer. I don't know why those two extremes. Probably because they're things that just, like quilting, they just fascinate me. I love the science behind food. I love the science behind wine. And I love the law. I really do. I don't think many people can say that they read case study as like a leisure activity and it just sets their soul on fire. So I don't know. I guess I'm a total weirdo, but that's okay. Yeah. I love all of it. But the thing that, I felt like I could do well in terms of a career was definitely always owning my own business. My whole family, both sides, have owned businesses, and so I knew how hard it was. I knew what a challenge it was. I love a good challenge. I think that's part of why I love to learn too, because I like that constant, just expanding your mind, the challenge of something. I love all those aspects of being a Sagittarius. I'm not crazy about the kind of adventure reputation that we get. I think everyone, you know, associates Sagittarius with, oh, they've always got to be on the go and they're very flighty. And certainly I was a little bit in my younger days. But the learning aspect, I truly feel like I could go to school for the rest of my life, which is a great segue to something that maybe I'm not 100% ready to talk about. But I am going to be doing like a whole bunch of different educational series relating to quilting. I had to sneak in a couple stitches here, guys. It feels like a crime not to sneak in a couple. I whip stitch. Some people ladder stitch. I keep trying to get it. It's just, I cannot get the technique down. I just feel like every time I try it, you can see my stitches or things are too loose. Probably more too loose versus seeing my stitches. So that's what I was trying to show you guys earlier is, oh, you can see it a little bit here. There we go. So I match my thread to my darkest fabric. And you can see my stitches if you're, you know, if you've got your face in it. Of course you can see my stitches. The hand piecing, I'm not sure I've ever met someone who hand pieces so well that you never see a stitch. There are people that are extremely talented and you might see 2 or 3, but I don't think I've ever truly seen anything where you don't see a single stitch. So I got distracted again, sorry. So I match my thread. Education, love of education. So I'm going to be doing several series that are very education forward. And that is because I just want you guys to learn lots of things, because I want to learn lots of things. So there is a trend. I'm gonna set this down so I can talk to you guys. There is, and I'm gonna show you everything that's in my box too. So there's a trend going around. I feel like I've seen it mostly on TikTok, but definitely social media in general, where people are creating their own curriculum for things that they just want to learn. Humans by nature are curious. We want to learn. And it's something that I am so passionate about. I really could. I could go back to school. I could just spend the rest of my life learning about any and everything. I'm a very curious person by nature. I like to know things. Do I retain them all? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But I like to know a lot about a lot. And if there's something that I'm curious about, I will Google a million random somethings. Because I just want to know. I just want to learn. So I want you guys to learn too. And I hope you're excited about that. So we're going to do a couple different series. We're going to do some more machine videos. And I think Justin's going to tackle a lot of those. I just feel like he has such a good grasp on the machines in terms of a more like clinical style of step by step by step. This is how you do something versus I'll be like, oh, I'm making this project and this is how I, made sure that my embroidery was centered in the hoop and I, combined these 2 designs. So I think our 2 different styles will be great meshed together, because if you're someone who just needs to know, how do I thread the machine? How do I wind the bobbin? How do I, duplicate this embroidery design? I think Justin is really, really great at that step by step by step kind of more clinical type of learning. And I feel like I'm great at the creative type of learning where I'm working on a project and I can show you guys, okay, you know, this is how I hooped it, and I hooped it this way so that we can combine these two designs and make, you know, a bag or a t-shirt. So I think that's going to be great. And then not only do I want to do machine stuff, because machine stuff is great, but I want to do some hand piecing, English paper piecing, and one of the things that I really want to do is an entire series of videos about the quilting book. So there is a book that just came out. We're hopefully going to have it in the store soon. Weirdly, consumers could get it from like major retailers before like our distributors were able to get it. Things have been, you know, shipping is still all over the place. So hopefully we're gonna have it soon. It's called the Quilting Book. It is a phenomenal resource that really takes you step by step, if you have never quilted before, to completing your first quilt and beyond. And one of the things that they do in that book is they have a building blocks quilt. And I want to not only go through the individual blocks with you guys and kind of talk about and expand on what the book does really well, which is discussing tools and notions and thread types and stitch lengths and tensions. It covers everything. So I want to discuss all that stuff with you guys, but I also want to sew this quilt, piece this quilt with you guys, and kind of talk about, you know, the importance of all those things and how they go into each block. So we're going to try and do lots and lots of education going forward, which, excuse me, that's what happens when you have a lot of wine and not a lot of food. So we really want to amp up the education stuff for you guys, which I hope you'll love, because it's something that I love. So I want to share that with you. Let's talk about what's in my box. And then I'm going to let you guys go. So I keep kind of what I call the essentials in here. So I have a boatload of, it has occurred to me that there is not a great way to show this to you guys. I have a boatload of glue sticks. I have a thimble made out of Thimtech tape. I am not sold on this product, to be perfectly honest. We used to stock it in the store. I haven't stocked it again. It is stable enough that you can stop focusing on my face, focus on my crazy looking thimble. It is stable enough that you can do it once, and then, you know, take it on and off. I made this one while we're up north. I've probably put it on 6, 7, 8 times since then to sew. It holds its shape nice, but I just don't feel like it is as sturdy as a thimble. You know, when you're pushing that needle through, sometimes you need a lot of oomph, and I am so guilty. I have nails and I'm so guilty of using my nails a lot of times, but I do really like a leather thimble, specifically the ones that have that nice little pebbled metal disc in them. They're very nice. So I've got glue in here. I've got my little needle threader. This is one of the little hummingbird ones. I think I probably got this as like a freebie in one of the many EPP kits that I've gotten. I've got a whole bunch of, oh, I did have the gray in here. I just don't have any of them basted yet. So I've got a whole bunch of my gray hexies, and then I've got my next colorway. Oop, I've got some of my current colorway in there too. I've got my next colorway for Grandma's Flower Garden in there. I have a hexie template from Tula Pink. I think these are still made. Paper Pieces made these. I've got hexi papers. And I've got several different threads because I mentioned I like to match my darkest fabric and thread. So I have several spools of Aurifil in here. I started this project with the 50 weight, so I'm continuing with the 50 weight. I've also got a little gray in here. This is, yes, this is Dove Gray. It is my absolute favorite thread. I love this gray. I use it for everything. It blends right in with even white, weirdly, somehow. Excellent thread. Love the Dove Gray. But I started this with the 50 weight because I had bought the Unicorn Poop and Dragon's Breath coordinating threads from Tula. So I'm continuing with the 50 weight, but for the most part with my EPP, I have switched to 80 weight Aurifil. Now, I had a friend the other day who mentioned that they use Decobob, which I did use on a retreat, and I feel like it was a very nice EPP thread. So something to think about there too. But I will probably always be an Aurifil Galahad. I love it. I know that it's a little linty, but I just find it's so strong. Any machine I sit down in front of, like I have Janome Magnolia back here, which was it was the very first machine I owned. Actually, a friend's granddaughter has my very first machine, that my very first Magnolia that I ever had. So I've sewn with Aurifil on Janomes. I've sewn on Aurifil with Brothers, Vikings, Bernitas. I've sewn on just about every machine that's out there with Aurifil, and I constantly go back to it because I opened my Mav kit from Modern American Vintage. I do have his card in here. Because I opened my Mav kit from Modern American Vintage while I was up north, I stashed a bunch of that in here. So it came with 2 little fabric packs. So Zoo. I think this is zoology. Guys, I have to be frank. I'm like second guessing how to spell it right now. Yes, that's enough O's. It's zoology. And then Sea Glass Summer was the other one that I got in my Mav kit. So I have those in here just as a place to, hang on to them, or if I need a break from the flower garden, then I have something else to go to. These were my very first teeny tiny scissors, and because I'm terrified of losing them, I have this cute little keychain to keep track of them. This is a character from Hiro Miyazaki, very, very famous Japanese animator. And this is from a small artist that I found, I think, on Instagram. And I just loved it. I was like, oh, it's so sweet. Like, it's just a cute little, cute little trinket. And it's great for the scissors. But, I got these guys in the Mav kit. These are a pair of Japanese scissors. They are so, so, so sharp. I've even cut a little bit of fabric with them when I've had to sneak in there and get it done. I've got a boatload of my favorite needles. These are Tulip number 10 Big Eye. Tula Pink turned me onto these. I use them very, very often. I find they're one of the few needles that I am a pincher and a squisher when I EPP, and they're one of the few needles that I will not bend to the point of unusability. So I have several tubes of these in here. I also absolutely adore the Somo, which is the Australian brand that we carry. They make sharps needles, and I adore those for just about everything, but English paper piecing in particular. I've got a little tin of thread wax, and then I have a Sew Tight magnet in here. This happens to be one of the Tula Pink ones. Couple years ago, that was a couple years ago now at least, that Sew Tights had a partnership with Tula Pink for custom, of course, pink heart-shaped Sew Tights. I love them because they also act as a needle minder. One of my absolute favorite things about them. So I actually have one of my old needles that's hanging out on the top of this. So absolutely love those. I also have the multi-set, and that I keep in, oh, is it close by? No, it's not close by. So I have a tin that I keep more EPP in, and because it's magnetic, the Sew Tights magnetize right to the inside of the tin. I don't ever have to worry about losing them. It's the multi-pack, so it is 2 of the bars of different strength and then one of the dots. And the dots, like the Tula hearts, are fabulous for English paper piecing. They fit, especially when you're doing hexes, they fit so perfectly in the center here so that you can keep this edge nice and lined up while you're piecing. So one of my absolute favorite tools, Sew Tights. They're fabulous. So we've done wine. I've got snacks. We've talked English paper piecing. This has been great. I can't wait to see you guys again. I really do. I hope this becomes a regular series. I'm going to try really, really hard. I know it's supposed to be Wine and Whips Wednesday, and this is Friday. It was just one of those weeks. But I hope this becomes a regular thing, and I'm going to try really, really hard this next time to make sure that we have the wine. That wine went right to my head. I'm going to try really, really hard that I make sure to get the wine far enough in advance so that if you guys want to put on the video and check out the wine and purchase it for yourself before you watch the video, you can do that. So cheers, quilters. I will see you all soon. As soon as I figure out how to turn this camera off, we're cheers, guys. We're gonna do this. Happy quilting.